Said if you can't win, wreck someone who can. And
Exactly.
I knew I wasn't winning that.
Why do people not get out of the fast lane?
Every time I see that picture of you riding around with that big ass fro you're wearing, I still get pissed.
It was that night I said preparate, but I didn't say what I wasn't supposed to say, and that's A1.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk 447. I'm Jeff Emig, as always, joined by my partner here on Real Talk, Ricky Carmichael. How you doing, buddy? It's been a while since we did a show.
We got to tighten our game up, man. Seriously.
3 amazing races have gone by in Monster Energy Supercross since we last did a show. It's not like nothing's happened either.
I know, right? And there's been a lot of drama, a lot to talk about, and so little time. But yeah, the thing is like we've talked about it, off the podcast, but the residencies are tough, because I'm busy in between there, you're busy, and like I don't have the full week to just basically not do anything. And then while we're have these shortened weeks, if you will, I feel
wait, hold on. I thought you were going to talk about they were difficult for the riders. You're trying to talk to our listeners and to have them feel sorry for you because you have to talk about Supercross 3 times.
No, I don't want them to feel sorry for me. Not even in the slightest little bit.
I'm teasing you.
I know you are. But yeah. So anyhow, to our listeners, I apologize. Fro's busy as well, and we want to do this, and we want it to be fun, and we don't want it to feel like a drag. And anyhow, so it's good to talk to you. Lots to talk about. I'm excited about it. I want to hear your insight more than anything. And what you thought.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if we should work backwards or work forwards, because I guess let's just start further back. Cooper Webb and his type of dominance that he had in those indoor races was incredible, and he threw out just some amazing rides and gained a pretty good points deficit coming into Atlanta. Not deficit, lead, sorry. Coming into Atlanta, which was really quite impressive. I mean, those rides that he had were just outstanding.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Well, it all started, in Dallas. You go back to Dallas, those incredible rides that we had. We talked about it just a little bit, Real Talk 447. But yeah, that final Dallas race was something, it certainly was. A lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to be a part of, and just the craft and what he's able to do. And then going on into Atlanta, we had that 2-week break. Then we go into Atlanta, completely different racetrack, much faster. Intensity level is really high because the speeds are so fast. Precision isn't quite as key as it normally would be at a regular Monster Energy Supercross race. So you have that there. And then, still talking Cooper Webb here, then the management of the championship is starting to come in. We only got 3 races left. You wonder, is it that inside mechanism, and you've been in this situation before, Jeff, has that kicked in? And now that eye of the tiger that we've seen from Cooper Webb, has that been reined in just a little bit, and he's went on to full conservation mode and ride this thing out?
That's an interesting point.
If that's the case, then that's great, but it certainly is making it exciting. There's no doubt. Eli Tomac winning, closing in the points after the first Atlanta, but now he didn't do what he needed to do at the Atlanta 2. And then you go with Kenny Roczen, who made a huge points gain. 9 points he gained at Atlanta 2. So he's right back into the thick of things. And these first corners at Atlanta have been so tight really, really, really tight radius, and you know better than anybody what that can do if you don't get a good jump. So you just wonder, is Cooper on borrowed time, or has that inner championship management I don't
Mechanism, yeah.
mechanism has it kicked in? So that's the 450s. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah. I mean, Webb just had everybody handled. He looked amazing. Was the final round in Arlington there in Dallas. That was the race where they went 1, 2, 3, just wheel to wheel, basically. Yeah, just exceptional. And then you get to Atlanta and there's rain and there's all these other variables. You can't help but think that he wasn't thinking about that. But if we fast forward to the Tuesday night race, I thought he rode exceptional. But once again, I mean, he was battling for the lead in the second turn and got shuffled back. And things kind of happened a little bit quickly for him. I think that he was conservative, like you were talking about. And then he said, okay, I see Tomac coming. I have an idea of what and how this race has shaped up. Roczen's out there. Okay, I need to charge. And there was no doubt in my mind that he was going to pass Barcia, and Barcia came over. I guess he had every right to do that. It would be questionable. Webb needed to check up a little bit more, and he cost himself another position. So what seemed like a big points lead, I would even say a comfortable points lead, when Webb left Arlington, that's 25 isn't enough, a race, if you will. I forget exactly what the number was, but that's not enough, because you've got Barcia's riding well, Plessinger, you've got Anderson, like there's a lot of guys. You got Sexton, who wants to become a podium guy. So all of a sudden it's not Webb, Roczen, and Tomac, and they're going to fill the podium, and you'll just kind of shuffle those names around each weekend. It's a difference between first and sixth, just like Roczen did. Webb just did the same thing. I think Webb was a little bit better than Roczen was when he had those sort of poor results and lost points. But hey, the bottom line is now here we are, and Webb only has a 13-point lead, which with 3 to go, it's basically, it can be 0, because you can lose that easy.
So I was talking to a friend of mine this morning, and I was saying, hey, you think Coop pulls it off? And he says, yeah, 100%. And he said something to me. I'm like, and I'm bummed at myself because I didn't think of this, but he came into Atlanta with a 12-point lead. He does have a 13-point lead right now. So big picture, yes.
Wait.
After the first Atlanta, yeah, he only had was it 15 points? Sorry.
Wait, why did I think that it was more? I've got my wires crossed in.
Well, because he had a 22-point lead before Tuesday night, because he gained a lot of points on Kenny. Atlanta won.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I skipped forward a race. Yeah. All right, so 22 points. You're like, boom, Roczen's off his game. Okay, finish your thought, and then I'll
so basically, if you look at it just from a residency standpoint, and if he gets out clean here on Saturday, I mean, he hasn't to this point, he hasn't lost a substantial amount, so he's still in good shape. But certainly, Jeff, being there and seeing and watching, he's off the pace. So he's either extremely uncomfortable with his motorcycle, or that mechanism, that internal mechanism of championship mode has kicked in.
Yeah, and that's where I'm going to go with this. After I mentioned Fox Racing and foxracing.com for supporting the show, everything you need for your apparel needs, safety gear, all of that, go ahead, check them out. Also, ODI grips and handlebars, and you can go to odigrips.com. check out the Emig Pro and the RC4 handlebar bend. Hey, I actually sold you a set of CFT RC4s the other day
Did you?
at the track too. Guy was asking me about vibration, and I said, "Oh, you don't go with the Podium that has no crossbar. You want the Podium CFT because it'll absorb that vibration."
Yeah, just a little bit of bend and flex in there to give you that comfortable feel that you need, and you got the Emig lock on.
Emig Pro.
Like, hey, that's a winning combination, dude.
That's right. Hey, let me bounce this off you.
Yeah.
So my thoughts are that at 22 points back, Roczen, okay, if Webb is riding like, okay, I need to think in terms of the championship, the flip side of that is that Roczen and Tomac are thinking, I'm out of it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So those two guys, the first two races at Atlanta, they go for broke. Nothing. I got nothing to lose except go for the win. I don't have to protect anything.
Right.
I think Roczen rides really well in that position. Now we're going to see with 3 to go, he puts himself back in the position. And Tomac is only how many points out?
He's 36, 35 or 36 behind the lead. Right.
Let's see, 13 and
he's 35.
Yeah, 13 and 20. Yeah, okay. So he's got nothing to lose. On the broadcast, I don't know whether it was Will or yourself or somebody talked about Tomac not really mathematically being out of this, but I think a realist would say, yeah, that's, if it was one guy, maybe one guy goes down with an injury, you got a shot to make those up. But being Webb and Roczen, you don't count on both those guys going out, let's say. So if Webb was riding somewhat safe, you would say, and Roczen, this other, the Tuesday night, he just grabs a whole shot and sayonara, he's gone. Rides a perfect race, which he can do. But does the pressure of being 22 points back as opposed to 13 have any role to play in that?
100% it does. And that you bring up a great
dude, it's
point.
9 points. Come on, 9 points. If you think that, then explain to our viewers why 9 points can change your mindset that much.
Oh, well, because now it's a real possibility. You're like, oh man, it's almost like out of reach. Like it's almost like you were hoping for a Hail Mary, but within a drop of a hat, it's like, oh, wait a minute, it's not going to take a Hail Mary. So now I really have to, it's not just a hope or a wing and a prayer. Now it's like, oh man, I have a really good shot at this. And yeah, it changes your mindset. That's basically, I'm trying to parallel it for you. And that's what it's like.
So would Tomac.
So it's almost like you go to a basketball game and they do those half court shots for however much money you want, you win for prizes. Okay. You're going to go for it. And it's like, if I miss it, no big deal. It's half court, but then they put you to the free throw line for the same amount of money. You're even closer. Feel like that pressure is even like, okay, now it's really close. I've got to make this. So there's more pressure to make it from a shorter distance.
And if they put you right in front of the goal, right under the goal, and say you win $1 million, but if you don't make it, it costs you $10K.
Right. So does that parallel make sense?
Yeah. If you're shooting from the other goal, if you don't even hit the backboard, there's no chance. But if you go to do a layup, don't miss a layup. Like, uh-oh. Well, and that brings me to our next rider in the top 3 is Tomac. Goes out, has an incredible ride at Atlanta 1. Atlanta 2, what's the difference? Why could he not slice through the pack and win that race just like he did the other one? Yeah,
I think that's been the big question about Eli Tomac, Jeff, is what happens in those situations? Because we've seen him over and over again throughout his racing career. It's like, what what in the heck happened from Atlanta 1 to Atlanta 2? Like what is the difference? I
Yeah.
wish that we could, it'd be so insightful to ask Eli himself, like, what is happening? Like, how did you do this at Atlanta 1? And then why did this happen at Atlanta 2? I
Yeah,
don't
and it's the same thing with Webb, those 3 races in Arlington, and then these other races is kind of there. Would Tomac have rode different if he needed to win that race Saturday night to win the championship? Right? You have a different mindset. So I guess what Ricky and I are trying to lay out is how it's not just this black and white. You get on the bike and you just ride as fast as you can and you don't think about this other stuff. At this level, there's so much mental uh, things happening that you're having to balance and equate. And I know that once I won the Supercross title in '97, it completely changed my maybe my outlook or respect for one of my adversaries, Jeremy McGrath, who had been Supercross champion for 4 years straight leading into that. Is like, wow, this is a different level of focus and mental capacity and everything that goes into this. Even then, at the time, the Pro Motocross Championship, it was like the ultimate pressure cooker in our sport. I mean, and as a racer, the pressure to win Monster Energy Supercross is so incredible because of what it means. You go down in history, as being a champion at this sport that's just incredibly difficult.
Yeah, I mean, it's the dynamic surely changes. I mean, just that quick. Going from 22 back to now he's 13 back. Now it's like, yeah, it's within reach, and you hit the nail on the head, bro. And your explanation of what it's like. So I'm excited to see what happens Saturday,
Dude, it
because
ain't over.
now they all have to execute pretty much. Well, Ken Roczen and Cooper Webb surely do. Cooper doesn't want to lose any more points. He wants to go on the Salt Lake. You would think it would be ideal for him to go on the Salt Lake City with a nice buffer to where he's not in a must situation where he has to win or he has to get right behind Roczen. So you would assume that he wants that little buffer. But if you're Ken Roczen, you have to beat Cooper, and you are hoping that, say, your teammate gets in between them or Tomac gets in between them. Those situations happen, but it's well within reach where it wasn't quite there after or before Tuesday.
Well, and that's why it adds the pressure to both of those riders that are championship leaders. Think about being Cooper Webb. Now, all of a sudden, you're going, whoa, if I don't have a good night, I could be 5th or 6th really easy. I mean, if Plessinger hadn't have had to veer off the track because Stewart went over the bars and ended up, Plessinger had a horrible start. The way that he's been riding.
Ferrandis was coming, he fell.
Yeah, so it's not over until it's over. I mean, these guys have to battle, and like I said, it's not just battling each other. This isn't a 2-horse race or even a 3-horse race, because Anderson is on a mission, right? Sexton looks like, he should have already won one, so
there's certainly a whole bunch of different variables. And to your point, Fro, yeah, guys, like people tuning in, watching, listen to Real Talk 447, it's not just managing, to Jeff's point, it's not just managing, if you're Cooper Webb, you're not just managing Ken Roczen or Eli Tomac, you're managing all these other guys that you are not faster than these last two rounds.
Yeah.
So there,
right?
that throws in a whole nother dynamic.
Yeah. I thought Webb battled back really well this last race. I thought that at the halfway point for him to ride in the position he was, and then to say, okay, Barsha's starting to back up a little bit. I'm going to put on a charge and make a pass. I mean, that would have been amazing had he done that. But I think that Webb is the best rider in the world at managing the pressure. I think his mental capacity and focus and grit is higher than anybody else's. So if I had to predict a winner right now, I would predict Webb. I know it's easy because he's got a little bit of a points lead, but there's a part of me that hopes that a guy like Ken Roczen, hope that Ken Roczen takes advantage of this situation, this win, and can build on it, and proves all of his doubters wrong.
I mean,
who you got there? Is that the new one?
Oh, that's Roosevelt. He's over here. He's still a pup, so I'm trying to keep him. I'm letting him chew on my finger over here. His teeth are getting sharp. But yeah, I mean, he is. I mean, and your comments support your case. They surely do. So anyhow, look at this guy. Oh, get out of here, buddy. No, you can't come in.
All right. So that was about 20 minutes on three guys.
That's 450.
Hey,
I mean, yeah, but it's certainly a lot of fun. And then last thing about of the 450s, give me your thoughts on the track. You like it? You a fan? You not a fan? Like, what do you think?
I did. I really enjoyed the track. I enjoyed it a lot better than Cameron Mcadoo did this weekend, or the past 2 weekends. But yeah, I thought that it's a really difficult thing to ride Supercross at that level. And then to have the weather play a part, and it's wet, and then the next time it's hot and humid. I wish that I had the intellectual capacity to craft and to put into words what it's like to do what these athletes are doing. It's not just your guys in first, the guys in last that don't have as good of equipment, they don't have as good as training program, maybe don't quite have the skill that the top guys do. The risk level actually goes up for them, and for those guys to be out there on the track, putting it on the line, trying to live their own dream and reach their own goals, right? And some guys it's, hey, I just want to make the main event. Some guys it's, I want to make the night program. So I give those guys a pat on the back too for what they do. Also, it's not just our leaders. I mean, dude, the track's gnarly. And you watch the crashes like we had this last week. I mean, just this morning, because I missed part of the race, I didn't see Ryan Sipes' crash.
Dude.
Talk about sticking it. Oh, if we have the highlight, we'll throw it up right now. That's an easy finish line double. And because he was laying it on the line, trying to qualify, trying to scrub that, he makes a little mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nasty wreck he took.
Yeah. Hey, before we get, because I really want to talk about the McAdoo situations, but I want to get your thoughts on what's your thoughts on all of our first-time winners and first-time podium guys in the 250 class?
Oh,
I mean, it's insane.
It's absolutely insane, dude. Nate Thrasher, Hunter Lawrence, Cameron Mcadoo. I mean, the list goes on and it goes on and it goes on. It's so much fun. Seth Hamaker. I mean, the crop of rookies that 250 West division has this season is so much fun, and it's deep, and they are really, really impressive. And what I think one of the reasons that I think these rookies are doing well, Jeff, and these first-time winners are doing well, is because they don't want to be outdone by the next guy. So if a rookie, you take Styles Robertson, if he's the rookie that gets the podium first, well, then that's going to light a fire under Seth Hamaker. And then that's that fire. Then you got Nate Thrasher. He's going to want to get up there too. He don't want to be the odd man out and not be the rookie that hasn't answered the bell. So it's been incredible to watch, no doubt about it. Fun, special, unpredictable, but the talent level is what I'm amazed with at the most.
Is this a product of how in the last 20 years we have seen the teams, and especially like the Star Racing Yamaha team is Will Hahn and everybody involved there on the leadership side have brought the team together. They basically forced them to all practice together and train together, which I was never a big fan of. But is this a product of rising tide raises all ships, and that Thrasher, being a rookie, is riding with Craig and Cooper and all the other veterans, so he has a way to gauge himself. Yeah. Well, I mean, and you add the first time winners. So wait, Nichols had one before.
I didn't say Nichols though.
Yeah. No, I was thinking aloud, but Jet Lawrence, first time winner also. So we've had a great crop on either coast. And I wonder if that isn't, like I said, a product of these guys working together.
100%. I think that's why everyone is so close, because what you're seeing now is guys that have grown up at riding facilities that ride together, have ridden together pretty much since they were on mini bikes. Not everyone, there are some exceptions out there in the 450 division, certainly. But these younger kiddos coming up in that 250 division, they all do the same thing. They practice, with each other. So there's not a lot of separation, which makes it great for racing.
And there's not a lot of guesswork in, what's this guy doing for training, or this guy versus this guy. I mean, in our time, we're kind of like on our own.
That would be unacceptable, right? You would never, never ever practice with your competition. But to your point, and what that Monster Energy Star Yamaha team has been able to do, and really unite with their team, get everyone on the same page. That looks like it's the new, if you will. I mean, the 250 team speaks for themselves, and they have made a huge impact since taking over that Yamaha factory racing effort. I mean, all three of their guys are in the top 10 and having some of the best seasons they've ever had.
Yeah. Now all they need is for Fry to get a podium or something would really be the last little piece, right?
And he's capable of it. He showed us a little bit more this past weekend. So all you need is a crumb once in a while.
Yeah. So that's super competitive. It's been awesome. Now, obviously, the elephant in the room. Cameron Mcadoo has a really intimate relationship with that tunnel, the over-under that they put on the track. Because remember, the first weekend is when he went sideways, landed on top, and flipped off. I thought that was horrible. I'm like, oh my God, that was crazy. And he kind of fell on the tough block and rolled out of it and got right back up. I thought that was bad. But then we had what happened at Atlanta too. We've been on the bike before. You've endoed your brains out before. I'm not sure that I looked the up face of a jump like that square in the face like he did.
I'll tell you what, Jeff. I mean, the first thing that runs through my mind is when you're watching it, it was so violent watching it, and the first thing is like, oh man, I hope he's okay, because you as a racer, me as a racer, we know what it's like to be in those situations. And when I saw that, I was just thinking, oh man, please move, please do something, which he did, thank goodness. But
he got ragdolled. And when he was ragdolled, right then you're thinking, okay, he's either knocked out or there's something even more serious, because he just got flung through the air.
Yeah, no doubt. He was all over the place. And I don't know that I've seen a wreck like that vicious in a really, really long time. It's something, honestly, and I'll be straight up with you. I don't like seeing stuff like that. I really don't. No. I don't even really like to talk about it much. I'm just glad he's okay. And I want to hear your thoughts on it. For me, it was one of the most gutsiest, courageous, inspirational rides that I have seen in a very, very long time. And he has gained a lot of respect. I think a lot of people could learn from him, youngsters coming up, people just in general. And I mean, you hate to, that's certainly not the way that you want to gain fans. However, I mean, that ride was, I mean, that guy's as tough as nails.
Yeah, you could tell that he was hurting. The NBC cameras had him sitting on the starting line, and the mechanic was, messing around with the front of the bike, and he's shaking his shoulder off, and kind of like doing all this, and I mean I think we've all seen the replays of it. Just horrendous, and then for him to get up, and then he almost basically grabs a whole shot too. I mean, talk about having a desire and a determination to win this title. We don't know how this thing's going to finish off, but I'm with you on that. That was one of the most courageous, exceptional rides that I've seen, and I really can't speak more highly about what I think of his ride.
Yeah, and the thing too, like, everyone was just assuming he wasn't going to go back out there. I heard Nick Way, his riding coach and trainer, said, dude, there's no way he's going to go back out there. I don't believe that his mechanic knew that he was going to mount back up. Mm-hmm. I mean, how would you think that he would after what we witnessed? Yeah. And so he told his mechanics, he's like, no, dude, get my bike ready. I'm going back out. We had an opportunity to talk to him yesterday. And I just can't say enough for that and what he did. Just to back your point up, it was incredible to watch. And there's no way his handlebars were in good shape, right? So to be able to do as well as he did with his controls not being proper. I mean, Monster Energy Supercross is hard to race, start with. And then when you take a bike that is mangled and you're able to do what Cameron Mcadoo did, it was certainly incredible to watch.
I agree. I'm going to switch gears on this subject completely. Ricky and I have not talked about this since the race. I want to get your thoughts on the fact that he caused the red flag, was helped off by the medical people, had to be helped off the track even, and then was still allowed to race. Because I want to role play this a little bit, and I know you've probably seen or probably been on a chat with somebody that's talked about this, and I've had a lot of people hit me up like, "Hey, wait, how can he do that?" And so, in no way, shape, or form is this any nothing against Mcadoo. The rules are the rules. He got on his bike and he raced and blah 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 blah. But you could argue that he shouldn't have been allowed to race, and then. Whether you want to argue anything in the rule book or versus should there be a rule change that would not allow a rider to race in that situation. Okay. So the rule book is the rules, and he followed the rules, and Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki followed the rules and all that. So I'm clear on that. I'm not trying to change that. But if you're restarting the race, okay, so you could go to the rule book and go, well, aren't you supposed to have a front number plate with numbers a certain size and AMA logos and Monster Energy logos? It's all part of the rules. You have to have this on your bike. Well, he didn't, right? I've had people hit me up about that. I said, well, that's an interesting thought, And then also, if you wanted to role play this, because I know you love doing that all the time, especially when we talk about relationships and different things. Ricky's always like, okay, let's role play this for a second. So let's say this weekend, and we'll just go straight to the center. But let's say Justin Cooper gets a bad start. He goes, oh shit, I got a bad start. I see McAdoo's up front. I'm going to find a tight spot, fast spot or something on the track. And I'm going to lay down. I'm going to fake a crash. I'm going to lay out on top of the jump. And oh, my neck, or, whatever the case. And then they red flag it, and then they re-rack them. So you see, I'm obviously this is a bit, I'm exaggerating the crap out of this, but you get my point is that somebody, I would have to look at the start, watch the race again, find somebody that had a good start in the first one and somebody that had ended up with a crappy start when they had to re-rack them.
Well, okay. First, yeah, the rules were the rules, and
Yeah.
he passed, whatever. You can't, moving forward, you can't, I don't feel like you can't, I feel like you can't penalize a guy for being injured. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
I would find it very, very hard for someone to do that. I don't know. I don't know that I'm down with that. Clearly, that wasn't a flagrant foul that
Sure.
Cameron Mcadoo did.
So, well, and keep in mind, I'm throwing these things out there, not necessarily from my personal viewpoint. I get messages and people ask me stuff on social media and whatnot all the time. So we're kind of trying to go through these questions, and like people raise these subjects. So we're trying to cover this on Real Talk. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million ways, and I don't know that listen, I think rules like that should be adjusted at times if need be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for that, so long as it is safety first and it's fair. If it needs to be tweaked, it needs to be tweaked. So
yeah.
that's
well, the bottom line is
listen, my opinion might be different than everyone else's that have been reaching out to you, and that there's been few that has reached out to me, but it could probably use a little bit of tweaking.
Yeah. I mean, like we've said before, Ricky and I used to sit there and we'd BS while we're sitting on our couches, and we would talk about these races, and this might have been a subject that we would have brought up and chatted about for an hour on a Tuesday morning, right? And so one of the promises that we are hoping that we're fulfilling with this podcast is to bring up these conversations and throw out the what ifs and question things. And I looked through the rule book. The only thing that really seemed that if you were super nitpicky about something, like I said, was the front number plate. And so, and the reality is, in interest of fairness, are you gonna penalize somebody for not having a front number plate? Now, I don't know whether Will Christian stole that or they gave it to her. She had it in her hand on the broadcast. Maybe I can throw this on Will. Maybe it's Will's issue. She needs to give the number plate back.
Listen, at the end of the day, not having that front number plate. This is how if I was officiating the race and there was a gray area, and like not having his front number plate on didn't make him faster.
No, but it's interesting because one of the things said that, obviously the numbers have to be a certain height, all that. Front number plates must be mounted in such a manner as to prevent deflection of the plate during the event. An attempt of streamlining, such as curved plates or plates that are not rigidly mounted, is prohibited unless such plates are standard on the homologated model. I don't know if aerodynamics plays a part in our sport.
No. Not. I mean, maybe at the outdoor level where the speeds are a little bit faster.
Oh, come on. No. Well, I wouldn't run a visor then.
What if you did a wind tunnel test and it said, and no visor gave you 3/4 of a second per lap? Would you do it?
Hey, aerodynamics plays a part on my 150. I can tell you that. Hey, maybe that's why when your dumbass looped out in Pontiac that time, is Pontiac, and you broke your visor off and you came from last to second.
Oh, I was cutting through the air a lot faster.
I'm just saying.
Maybe might be on to something. Could you imagine oh, dude, we did it in the wind tunnel. No visor is 3/4 of a second a lap faster. Next thing you know, hey, and guaranteed, if one guy started doing it and winning over and over and over, and that secret got out, everyone would do it.
Yeah. I'm not sure I'd want to ride without a visor. It's so, because I don't like to wear tear-offs very much. So I use my visor, like I dip my head a lot whenever I feel like I'm going to get roosted and whatnot. You would have to have 500 tear-offs in outdoors, especially.
That'd be so.
It's a new look. We're going to start a new look. I'll talk to the guys at Fox today, see if we can mock up some V3s. Maybe we'll just call it a new one.
When testing.
Yeah. Dude, there's so much happening with Monster Energy Supercross. I know there's been some incredible rides by riders other than what we mentioned. You know, Plessinger almost, I thought he was going to win the thing. So, you know, we need to wrap it up here time-wise, but it has been a pleasure to watch and listen to you along with the team call the races, and Manhart, Bono, everybody in the truck are giving us the pictures to look at, and we got 3 left to go. And I really couldn't be more excited about this championship. But
Yeah,
all of these championships, I should say.
Yeah, it's certainly it's shaping up to be a good one. And then let's not forget about that shootout at the final round. That's going to be epic. The
Dave Coombs Sr.
What is it?
Memorial Shootout.
Yeah, Dave Coombs Sr. Memorial Shootout. Yeah, we got to kind of rename.
Do you know, Ricky?
It's not just a shootout.
Do you know that
didn't you win the first one?
The first 2, but they don't recognize them. I'm going to end on that.
Dude, that's so jacked. Not giving my boy respect.
I know. We need to start some sort of petition, or, you know.
There you go.
Just give me the respect.
No doubt. Well, dude, It was killer chatting with you. We're going to do it again next week. I got a full week off. No residency next week. So we will see and talk to all of our viewers and listeners next week. Send us your comments. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us things you like, you don't like. And
use the subscribe button here also.
Right.
All right. Thanks to Fox Racing and ODI Grips for supporting us and everything we do. Ricky, I appreciate your time. Thanks to all of our viewers and listeners. You guys are faithful, and we really appreciate you taking this 30 minutes or so to talk a little Supercross with us. All right, Ricky, we're out of here. Andrew McKeague Band is going to take us away with this old lie. See you guys.